First wave of panelists. We have 4 more people sitting off set right now, but we start with Jimmy Himes right there. Jimmy, thank you.
Thank you.
Will Overstreet, former Vol player right there.
Good
Will.
to be here.
Another former Vol right here, Marlon Walls. Marlon, thanks for being back with us.
Man, excited.
And right there, Bob Hodge, back for season 22. You've been here for all of them.
Yeah, I'm still just 40.
There you go. I'm now older than you. 69-3, Tennessee just rips Chattanooga up one side, down the other. They rolled up yards, points, while almost blanking their FCS guests. It was a far better performance than the last time we saw Tennessee go out and beat an FCS foe. That was 30-13, and it was more of a struggle than even the score suggested last year. Let's take a look at the stats. I'll let you see that as we talk a little bit here. It was Tennessee's most points under Josh Heupel. And get this, the Vols, in 2021, his first year, they scored 60 points twice. In 2022, they scored 60 points 4 times. Last year, they did not score 60 points a single time. In fact, they only went over 50 once last year. And now, well, it's almost like everything's kind of back to normal. Wonder what changed. My biggest takeaway from yesterday's game, as we're going to throw it out to these guys, my biggest takeaway can be summed up in 3 words. And I forgot them. Ball placement, and processing. To me, I think that could be the 3 words that shape this season. Will Overstreet, what was your biggest takeaway from yesterday's game?
I mean, Nico's here, and that was a heck of a game. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. You go 10 for 10, your first 10 passes, and you're all over the field. You're on target. You're hitting people in stride. You're hitting them in the right places. You're going attack at the middle of the field. All of a sudden, had more plays to it than it probably did all last year. So I just look at this and go, this offense looks like it's taken its step back up. Obviously, you're going up against the tomato can, as John rightly referenced, but you did what you had to do, and on air, you were completing things like you were supposed to. Last year, you were missing big passes, even when it was against on-air opponents, basically. So I think in this game, you take away that the offense looks like it's stepped back up to 22 levels, and that's where you're thinking this offense is going to be this year.
I tell you, when they start a drive successfully with early plays, they're electrifying because they had 26 first down snaps in the first half and gained 333 yards. Think about that. That's a lot. And about 5 of them were gains of over 30 yards.
Compare that to last year.
Correct. Now, and then the 2 drives late where Josh Heupel was complaining about what they did late, it's because they didn't get off to a good start in those drives. But those first down plays were terrific what they did. And then one of them was like 26 yards, 33 yards touchdown. So they're so efficient. And when they start out a drive and they're efficient and they get it rolling, the momentum, they are hard to stop.
Biggest takeaway?
The electricity's back. The electricity's back. You can see it. You can also pay attention. If you pay attention to the defense, what I saw yesterday, they're excited as well. They understand that on the other side we're going to score points. And I would tell you as a former defensive guy, when you know that the offense can score, you get a little bit more excited about your play as well. So I would say the electricity's back. We should be excited. The offense is going to roll. And I saw that from the guys yesterday.
Bob?
When you play the tomato can early, and Tennessee plays tomato cans early, but you look as clean as Tennessee did, I mean, one of the stats I think is really impressive, 6 penalties. Josh Heupel's teams have a reputation of being penalized quite a bit, and you were playing, as Jimmy said on the radio last night, about 120 guys seemed like we're playing, but yet you only had 6 penalties. I thought that was impressive. I thought it was impressive how well everything looked. And yes, it was a tomato can opponent, but you looked really, really good for a season opener where in the past you haven't looked that good against the inferior opponent in that first game.
The offense with Joe Milton running it looked clunky. It always looked clunky. And people can go back. We said it even after the Orange Bowl. You and I beat the drum that, yes, he was MVP. Yes, they got some good numbers. Look at all the 3 and outs they had, except for 2 deep balls that they hit. When he didn't hit the deep balls, and he didn't hit them often, that offense was all run game. And yesterday with Nico out there, instead of seeing passes here, receivers having to reach back to their hip pocket, instead of seeing guys have to reach up, trying to get it where it's coming in him at 150 miles an hour, he's hitting them in stride. That's going to lead to yards after catch. That's going to bring back those big plays that we talked about all off season. You went from 40 plays, pass plays of 30 or more yards 2 years ago to 18 last year. I think you're going to be back on pace for 40 this year. I don't know if you're going to hit 40, but you're back on that pace. I don't think you're going to be struggling again. One of the guys, I know you were impressed by, one of the guys who caught some of those passes, Bob.
Oh, I thought Dante Thornton looked like a different guy yesterday. Now, once again, it's Chattanooga. You're going to get open.
Yeah.
But Dante Thornton caught the ball very well away from his body. There was a couple of passes to him that were high. He went up and got them. Now, last year you don't catch them with Joe because if you put your hands up, you got burn marks as it goes through your fingers. But I thought Dante Thornton yesterday looked like he might be the guy that we were sitting here last year thinking he's going to be.
Well, I said it earlier, like if you go back to last show, like if we can get him going, Dante Thornton, who is your flyer, the guy that can get down the field, he can catch the ball in stride and go score. This offense is going to be electric. And yesterday showed that he's super excited. And I think also, man, like when you're a receiver in that room and you know you got a guy that can get you the ball and it's going to hit you where you're supposed to hit you, it motivates you to get open. It motivates you to be on point and crisp with your route so that you know, I know if I get open, ball's coming to me. So that's a big deal.
After the game, Jason Swain of Vol Network was talking to Thornton, and he asked him what was different today about last year. And he said, the mental game. The mental game is different. I'm not stressed over it. We said it all summer. If there's somebody that you want to take that Jalen Hyatt leap who stinks one year and you don't see it turning around, but boom, where did that come from? You need it to be Dante Thornton. It's one game against a team that really couldn't cover him, but it looks like he's on that path. And to hear him say the mental game is what's better, I think that ties into a lot of the times you see these transfers come in, and it's year two that is better than year one.
Yeah, John, with Thornton now, he did start his career at Tennessee out of position. He's not a slot receiver, and they moved him out to wide out, and then when he started to click, catches a touchdown pass, he gets hurt. But when you look at, I think he was embarrassed by what happened last year, and I think it motivated him. I think Jalen Hyatt was embarrassed when he got benched the year before because he was dropping passes, and it motivated him. I see some similarities there. The other thing, too, Tennessee had 165 yards after catch yesterday.
Which gets back to also
Hitting them in stride.
There you go. The ball placement. Any other big takeaways from yesterday?
The thing that was really looking good for me on the game was the defensive line. When they were in there together, it looked like they were all on a string. No, everybody was at the same level, going the same direction, always resetting the offensive line, and you just didn't see anything that looked like it got uneven. And so for having so many guys rotate in and they all looked the same, that was an impressive part of the game that I noticed, and I was like, that looks like a different level this year that we've had.
I was going to say Dylan Sampson. I was going to mention him. Don't want to get through this because he had a great day. 150 all-purpose yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, again, he's running against let's see how it looks when they're running him up the middle time and time and again against an Oklahoma or an Alabama. But he showed yesterday that I think he's going to be a good lead back. Whether he can be a workhorse, I don't know. They spread the carries around yesterday because they could. I mean, everybody was getting touches yesterday. We'll see how that works moving forward. But I thought he had a really nice start to his season.
Well, that was the other thing. And in the pregame show on Saturday, I kind of told Paige Dower, no, you're not going to be able to tell much about these receivers. Nico threw passes to 10 different people, and he didn't play in the second half. To me, it's kind of incredible that you had 10 different guys that could get on the field and catch a pass in the first half. So I think maybe I was a little bit wrong about that. And yes, back to the tomato can, but still, you had 10 guys catching passes in the first half of that ball game.
It was interesting. You saw, there was talk of Holden Stays. There was talk of Miles Kitselman, the other transfer from Alabama, one transfer from Notre Dame. But it was Ethan Davis who had 2 catches and the touchdown, who got the start at tight end. I want to see where that develops. That's one where I wonder how much of that was Chattanooga and how much of that is we're going to see some tight ends that can actually do some damage.
How much is it a quarterback that's going to look at the tight end?
There you go. That's part of it as well. All right. Very good. And I tell you what, we didn't put this up. Let's go ahead and show it to you here. It was a record-setting home debut for Nico Iamaleava. 314 yards. He threw for more yards and a half than any quarterback in Tennessee history. Not bad for your first home game at Neyland Stadium. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about the best player, the worst decision. Was there a bad decision? The worst decision. And the biggest disappointment. Was there a disappointment? Will won't like what I say, I bet. Come on back on the Sports Week.